Hello, I'm Robert Bauer, Grazing Specialist for Golden Sands Resource Conservation and Development Council in Viroqua, Wisconsin. I am proud to bring you this excerpt of the Managed Grazing Workshop with Steve Kenyon at Sinsinawa Mound. During the workshop at Sinsinawa, we enjoyed Steve's keynote talk and so much more, including a producer panel on grazing techniques, a delicious lunch catered by staff and board members of Fields of Sinsinawa, tours of the virtual fencing and managed grazing in use at Sinsinawa, a presentation on the watershed studies underway through the University of Wisconsin-Platteville Pioneer Farm, and a discussion on forming watershed groups. And now, without further ado, here is Steve Kenyon.
I'm gonna go to questions now then, and you guys can bombard me with questions for as long as they want. Yes?
Do you have a minimum lease agreement length?
Minimum lease agreement length?
Can you do me a favor and repeat the question?
Yeah, do I have a minimum lease agreement? I like to get at least 5 to 10 years, but lots of times farmers or landowners, they just want to test me out first. So that's the hard part is, okay, do I take it for a year maybe? Only once have I taken a piece of land and I only kept it for 1 year. As soon as we build trust, because they want to make sure I pay them, right? I remember one year some fella came up to me and said, okay, Steve, we just had this, last year's renter grazed and left and never paid his check. I want money up front, right? He wanted money up front because the last guy just, ripped him off. So once we build up that relationship and I start paying him, right, that's the trust that he wants to know, then I negotiate, say, well, maybe I can pay some now and some later in the season or whatever. So my lease agreements are very flexible. There's all sorts of things. If you guys want one, I'll give them to you. I would advise you to take it to a lawyer so it works in your state, because we have things in there that's specific to Alberta and Canada. But I would gladly, email you my contracts. I've got a custom grazing contract. I've got a lease agreement contract. It just goes through all the details and makes it easy to, yes.
So charge per day, and how do you balance that with rate of gain? Do you guarantee a certain rate of gain?
No, I do per head per day. There's another reason why I have to do it that way. In Canada, we have something called the Animal Keepers Act. It's a lien of possession on the animals that I'm grazing. It used to be the Livery and Stable Keepers Act from the 1800s. They finally updated it about 10 years ago. But that is a lien of possession only. If I send the cattle home and they get weighed and then they pay me, I lose my lien. So I have to get paid before the animals leave. So that's a big reason why I only do per head per day. So basically, if I don't have the gains, then they can fire me, right? I mean, usually they're pretty happy.
And how do you come up with $1 per day?
Whatever market value is. It actually just went up, and I'm still way below it. The last few years, the prices have gone skyrocketed, but I've got customers that I've had for 10 years plus that are really good customers, always pay their bills. So I haven't raised them as high as I could have. As an example, cow-calf pairs right now, people are getting $3 or more per head per day. I'm still charging my customer $1.95. Right? I raised it up a little bit. I might still have to raise it up more. It's pretty tempting to go to 3, but I don't know if that guy paying 3 is going to leave next year because he found a closer pasture. So I think we had a question over here first. Then.
Does your calculator assume that you're grazing on established pastures with perimeter fence, or?
You can add that. There is a line. I've taken it out for this presentation just because it's shorter for rejuvenation, pasture rejuvenation. Right. So if I top dress with some seed on year 1, I might not need to for 5, 6, 10 years. Right. So I can put that in there and amortize it off, same way I did the fencing and the water system. So yes.
Is there a place you can see what the lease rates are? I mean, we see it for land here in Wisconsin, but not necessarily like, what grazing, custom grazing prices are.
You'll have to ask around, right? If there's no custom grazers in your area, either that's an opportunity because there's nobody there doing it, or the dollar value isn't there. Okay. But when I set up a full farm gross margin analysis, we have I talked about profit centers. Okay, so we have different profit centers. We could have a cow-calf profit center. We could have a feeder profit center. We could have a hay profit center. we have a grazing profit center, and that's one of the ones that most people miss because they just charge that to the cows or charge that to the sheep. Okay, but there is a specific profit center in the middle. I remember in 2001 when I took Ranching for Profit, right, which I highly recommend anybody taking that course. Amazing. But they didn't have a grazing profit center. And there I was, a custom grazer going, I don't have business, right? I can't give that to the cows because I don't own cows, right? I can't deal that with the land because I don't own land. So I have that niche in the middle, kind of. But grazing is definitely a profit center. So you just have to talk, ask people, talk to people in the room. Maybe there's a custom grazer close by. What is somebody willing to pay to graze cattle? Yes.
Steve, are you seasonal? That's one question. Are you doing everything year round? And then the other question would be, when like Neil Dennis, I think he had like a maze, he ran through it for adapt, or when they come on the place with a hot wire. Are you doing anything on that aspect?
Okay, first question was, am I seasonal?
Yeah.
I got compared the other day to a grandparent. When I'm done with them, I get to send them home. Fill them up with sugar and send them home. Yeah, so I'm a custom grazer. Over the years, I've custom grazed during the summer, and then I will have usually a winter herd that I'm custom feeding as well. We'll bale graze or swath graze. Right now, I don't have a winter herd. I mean, if as a custom grazer, I'm only working 6 to 8 months out of the year, right? I need to make some revenue for the other part of the year. So originally, I drove truck for the winter. Right, and then I went in. I've got a winter herd that I could feed and calve out. Labor got a little high with calving in the spring, and all of a sudden my grazing was being affected because I'm too busy calving out cows. So over the years, I've bounced back and forth between having winter herds, and I work with grain farmers. If all of a sudden they offer me a field of swath grazing, I'll go try and find a winter herd, right? But I don't necessarily always have that field of swath grazing either. So second question.
It was one, do you have the maze run through?
Oh, do I have a maze? Not like Neil Dennis.
Right.
We bring them into a corral area, but usually they're used to electric fence. They'll come down an alleyway, or every pasture is a little bit different how they're set up. So yeah, you bet. Yeah.
How are you finding herds to graze?
Word of mouth mostly. I mean, I started doing this 2001 is when I started custom grazing. Right back then, we didn't have Google, we didn't have Facebook Marketplace, we didn't have all these things, and then it was just word of mouth. Now, I mean, I haven't needed to. I mean, every year I turn down probably 3,000 head. People just know I'm a custom grazer, and what am I doing right now? I'm marketing, right? I just told how many people that I'm a custom grazer and I take cattle. So if I do this even closer to home, which I've got cattle that come a long ways away. I got one guy in Vancouver, British Columbia that he sent me cattle. Right, I've had animals from Saskatchewan and Manitoba before, so a couple provinces away. So that's the main way. Now it's easy with Facebook Marketplace, or we have Kijiji. I don't know what you guys have for buy and sell pages. It's a lot easier now. But to get a good customer that pays, that could be a challenge. That's why I'm really nice to my customers. They take care of me, I take care of them.
So you've maintained being a custom grazer for a long period of time. Most people use that as kind of a stopgap to be able to buy their own herd. What's preventing you from going down that road?
Economics. Every time I've looked at buying into cows, right, I've run a gross margin and went, it's just not quite there. Because when the prices go up, so do all the costs, right? Everything else jacks up with it, and I have not seen enough of a margin to make it worth the risk for me. Right, in my environment, I'm not saying anybody else is in that same boat, but if I can make a little bit of a profit this year and a little bit of a profit next year and a little bit of profit the year after, and then we have an extreme drought or something hits, BSE would hit again, and I lost 7 years of profit 1 year, right? I'm taking a step backwards. So the custom grazing has been low risk, and I have my Animal Keepers Act that protects me, right? That is a big reason for it. If I don't get paid, I can sell animals at auction and get paid. And because my customers know it, and I always get paid. A few years ago, I had a customer that owed me by the fall, he was up to about $46,000, right? I had to threaten, you know, you gotta get some cash flow going here, I gotta get paid or else I'm gonna have to start selling some animals, and I got paid, right? He had it was when COVID hit. All of a sudden he had this pen of steers he was gonna sell and he couldn't sell them. It just, everything crashed, so I understand things happen, but you know, after 4 months of sitting on that cash flow, I had to put a little pressure on him and he came through. So, one more question, last question?
What do you put in for a drought clause?
Drought clause. I have the right to ship animals home anytime I want with 2 weeks notice. That's my drought clause. So I have one last thing to do. Who traveled the farthest to get here? Other than me. How far did you come?
A little, Stevens Point, so a little over 3 hours.
3 hours? Anybody beat that?
4 hours.
4 hours?
10.
10 hours? Anybody want to challenge that one? Emily can. She did so good in the airport. We were in the airport layover for 8 hours.
Oh no.
She just charmed everybody there. So yes, I have a book for you. A prize for the person. Yeah, can Emily take it over there? Probably not. I wrote a book years ago. I need to update it. It's a little bit out of date, but it's through the Stockman Grass Farmer. If anybody is interested in purchasing it, I've been writing in the Stockman Grass Farmer for many years. So they published it for me. So I appreciate the Stockman Grass Farmer a lot. And I'm gonna go straight to pasture.
As part of Steve's visit, I also paddled with him down the Grant River, and we recorded an episode of our podcast, Farmers and Friends of the Kickapoo, which is available on the Golden Sands RC&D YouTube channel, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Thank you to the following individuals and organizations for their contributions to this recording of the Managed Grazing Workshop with Steve Kenyon. Julia Gerlach, Jennifer Vlanek, and Amanda Gerkles provided photos of the workshop. Volunteers Lance Brisboy, Quincy Howard, Ed and Mary Jacobson, Nathan Keister, Tony Pyrick, Isabel Rafferty, Brett Rundy, and Jerry Vlanek provided workshop support. Pointers Connect internship program at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point provided internship services. Amanda Gerkles, Golden Sands RC&D Environmental Educator, Outreach Coordinator, and Administrative Assistant, recorded the keynote. Angel Rakow, Golden Sands RC&D Media Production Intern, edited and captioned the video. Thanks to our sponsors and partners for the Wisconsin Workshops with Steve Kenyon: Greener Pastures Ranching Ltd, Grassworks Inc., United States Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Conservation Service, Fields of Sinsinawa, Gallagher Next Fencing, Byron Seeds LLC, Sand County Foundation, Wisconsin Farmers Union, University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Additional support was provided by Sauk County Land, Resources, and Environment Department, Sauk Soil and Water Improvement Group, Valley Stewardship Network, Vernon County Land and Water Conservation Department, Compeer Financial, and Narrows Valley Supply.
This document was made possible through a grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. This material is based upon work supported by the U.S. Department of Agriculture under Agreement 2004.25.085349. The views and conclusions contained in this document are those of the authors and should not be interpreted as representing the opinions or policies of the U.S. government or the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and its funding sources. Mention of trade names or commercial products does not constitute their endorsement by the U.S. government or the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation or its funding sources. Prepared with assistance from USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. USDA is an equal opportunity provider and employer.